some of the procedural aspects of Methanex versus United States in this video. We've been looking at the factual circumstances and the claims of Methanex in the previous video. So particularly, since the tribunal stated that it will only examine the intent aspects of Methanex claim, and that is where the entire case was hinging upon. And even while commenting on the first interpretation, the second interpretation request, the tribunal explicitly stated that if at all it accepts the request of Methanex, then basically it is relooking at the very root of what the tribunal had found to have jurisdiction. So, the intent aspect that was Methanex had requested in the second interpretation request is a very root of the partial award on which the tribunal found jurisdiction to proceed to the next stage, right. So, here US stated that since that is the first aspect on which the entire case is dependent, the intent aspect, and the US requested for a short evidentiary hearing to see if Methanex is able to adduce proof adding credibility to its allegation that there was an intent to discriminate on the part of Governor Davis. And for that was opposed by Methanex. Methanex said that we cannot produce all the evidence in a short evidentiary hearing. Tribunal also accepted the claim of Methanex and stated that we cannot expect Methanex to produce all the evidence in one hearing, and therefore the tribunal agreed to proceed to the next stages, that is hearing with regard to the merits. Even before the tribunal heard the arguments with regard to the merits, firstly it had to look at, sort out certain procedural aspects, and in this case one of the biggest procedural aspects that it had to take a decision on was with regard to whether it can accept amicus curiae submissions. If we can see the acceptance of amicus curiae submissions in the context of trade law or in case of other judicial forum has sort of a settled position. But we can see this is the first time in the context of an investment arbitration, the tribunal had agreed to accept amicus curiae submission. And there were many submissions made by many organizations, including International Institute for Sustainable Development, and all these amicus curiae submissions were in support of the US stance, basically in support of taking a measure for environmental protection. And now the Methanex was opposing the submission or accepting the submission of amicus curiae submissions. So that was a contention. US was US was basically supporting the tribunal to receive these submissions, and Methanex was against the tribunal receiving these submissions. Then the tribunal looked at NAFTA. NAFTA did not contain anything explicitly to mean whether the tribunal can accept or not accept. At the same time, UNCITRAL arbitration rules also were silent with regard to the question of accepting amicus curiae submission. So, the tribunal concluded that there is no explicit provision authorizing the tribunal to accept amicus curiae submission. At the same time, there is no explicit provision barring or prohibiting the tribunal to accept amicus curiae submission, and the tribunal went ahead and accepted the amici submission, and thereby making a landmark or making an indelible mark in the history of ISTS jurisprudence that Methanex tribunal was the first to accept amicus curiae submission. So that is how the first procedural thing was sorted. Then we can see Methanex had filed a request for getting evidence, testimony and other documents from certain individuals, and it was not able to do so on its own. So it filed a request by referring to IBA rules. Then here the first request was filed and the tribunal looked at the request. In that particular request, Methanex sort of claimed that there was a US legislation that allowed for making application before a court under whose jurisdiction the person was residing in order to compel that person to give testimony. So that was possible because of a US legislation. Now what Methanex had done was, Methanex had applied to the tribunal to give permission to go and approach the court. Then the tribunal looked at the language of the US legislation and stated that Methanex need not get tribunal's permission to go and approach the court, and there were and the testimony that it wanted was from some officials of ADM. I hope you remember ADM. ADM is the domestic ethanol producer. We discussed this in the first video of this particular case while talking about the factual matrix of the case. ADM is a domestic ethanol producer, and Methanex allegation was that ADM officials met before Governor Davis election, and then they had made significant political contribution to his election as well. So, that is a claim. So, it wanted the testimony and certain documents from ADM officials, and then its request on the basis of IBA rules was something that was contested by the US. US also stated that it needed the tribunal's permission before applying to the court also, as well as US sort of questioned the Methanex request for evidence by stating that as per IBA rules, Methanex had to clearly indicate what sort of documents it required. And so, that clear indication of what Methanex wants is absent, and therefore, the tribunal should not entertain this application under IBA rules, and accordingly that was also done. The tribunal accepted the US argument in the context of application of IBA rules. Secondly, what we see here is it made a second request for evidence, for collecting evidence, and even in that the tribunal sort of did not neither oppose or endorse Methanex request for giving approval to approach the court, or it did not oppose Methanex request. So, that particular point of time, just few months before the merits hearing began, we can see that Methanex had filed a case before the local courts, US courts, and before the US courts, and then after some time it even withdrew that application. In the notice of withdrawal, we can see Methanex had stated that it had received the go ahead from Methanex tribunal only recently to approach the court, and given the fact that US was very strongly opposing this collection of documents, Methanex stated that it did not believe that it will have sufficient time for depositions and all that. So, that was given as a reason for withdrawing the case from the US court. Then the Methanex noted these reasons given in the notice for withdrawal, and then Methanex tribunal remarked that reasons mentioned there were misstated. Methanex tribunal categorically stated that neither it gave its blessing for Methanex to approach the US court, nor it opposed. It was totally a call on the part of Methanex. So, Methanex tribunal stated that it was completely misstated. Also, Methanex argued before the tribunal that US strong opposition both in the both request when the hearing happened with regard to both the requests to be construed as an adverse point for the United States. So, basically Methanex wanted the tribunal to sort of infer an adverse opinion that US has been trying to deter Methanex from collecting evidence and testimony. So, this is what we see. But ultimately Methanex decided to enter into the merits hearing with the evidence it had at its hand. And as we see later, Methanex, the sort of evidence that Methanex has been asking for in all the requests that it had made, it produces those evidence in those hearings. So, in the next video, we will look at what sort of evidence that Methanex produced and whether these evidence were admissible before the tribunal. So, that is something we will discuss in detail in the next video. Thank you.